Hello Internet, I'm Jackie Fox. If you are a new player, you've been following my new player's guide to how to max out Lucio. You probably have your Lucio at level 115 or level 120 right now, and you're thinking to yourself, hey man, you recognize you told me that there were going to be some really cool missions here. In fact, if you followed my slime guide, I may have even referenced a mission that wasn't in that guide. So, where are these sword missions at, you might be asking? Well, they're in a completely different set of missions. For one, they're with all of the other Warrior of the Crystal's equipments. And today we're going to be talking about the Crucible of the Warriors, and specifically Crucible of the Warriors number 1 and number 2. Number 3, the final mission, is going to get its own episode because I don't know, man. As Astro Monkey, and by the way, shout out to Astro Monkey, you did the guides that I'm quick referencing to get myself back into all the technicals. Also, Woad of Calc, big shout out to Woad of Calc. I've been checking the maps and the enemies and kind of weaknesses and stuff. Between those two things, I have figured these maps out once again. And you are going to see me go through them. The reason that I'm saving the third for its own mission, though, is Astro Monkey notes even something like RNG, like a stun, can completely change the way that the final map works. And I think it's probably more about understanding that map and trying to hold yourself together the worse the RNG gets. More so than there is a clear-cut way to beat this map. However, the first two maps do have pretty clear-cut ways to beat them, so let's go over them first. So you'll notice that both in my slime guide and in this guide, I'm using Clairvoyant Astrologer a lot. It's a really great card for Lucio, even though he doesn't get the Armor Piercer, but for this team, because there is going to be a lot of survival involved, I am basically trying to max out Lucio's defense. We're talking defensive passives. We're talking defensive Esper. Please get your affinity with it. We're talking even Leonis Castle as a main vision card, which is probably one of the few times in this video that I am going below what I think you should have if you have everything that you want. And I don't have everything that I want for Lucio on this account, but, you know, in terms of how I'm equipping my Lucio, generally speaking, throughout this part of the quest, I'm going to be using basically the best available to me. This is kind of an exception in that Leonis Castle is a normal vision card that anyone could build. I kind of encourage a lot of people to build, but it gives you a lot of defense and spirit, so we are pushing, I think, 69 defense with this build, which is barely going to keep me alive. Now, we have to get a double kill, and that's not going to be hard. In fact, we aren't even going to do it, most likely. Probably Joom or Setia is going to get that kill for us, and our allies do count towards our multi-kill count. They just have to get them in the same turn. So really, the hardest part of this level is keeping Lucio alive. And now that we are clear on that, let's proceed. Personally, on a lot of these maps, I find it helpful to start with Greater Domain of Light. Especially since Joom is going to be going up against some Dark Spellblades, it seems especially appropriate that I give her that, as she is going to be playing the team's tank for most of this fight. Okay, second turn here. We're going to revitalize and probably stand in place. Yep, that's me. Letting everybody get out there in front. Now, technically, either of your allies can die during this match. It doesn't hurt the missions at all, I think. And even if it does, you can replay it and get that one next. Keeping them alive a little bit better. But what I'm going to do first is let Joom bait all of these people and get them really bunched up together. Maybe not the best thing to do here is Taunting Blade. You do have 120, you can Radiant Nova. I think that my Radiant Nova was probably going to smack my Joom in the face, is why I didn't do that. Yep, I was correct. But I'm really thinking about my life decisions from that position, is the thing. I want to do some damage to these dark characters, as they are going to be both the most dangerous to me and maybe some of the other units, or at least some of the hardest for the other units to kill. So I want to chip in there, but I'm not doing the greatest damage, and again, I'm pretty well geared, except for that main vision card, so yikes. Maybe you just want to stay alive. Anyways, Joom got the double kill. Joom, yeah, again, Joom got the double kill. Now I just need to stay alive. So again, opportunity to take out one of the dark units. Probably a good idea to do that. I think a big part of the reason I didn't last much longer in this fight, well, you'll see. But yeah, finish off one of those dark units. Probably the best piece of advice I can give you rewatching this for sure, because I'm getting gangbanged. Yeah. Oh man, that's rough. So yeah, take out one of those dark units so that they can't, like, dark chain you, at the very least. And you'll probably everybody would be safe if I had done that. But, hey, live and learn. Don't make my mistakes. So for much of the rest of the fight, I'm going to pick off people if they get near me, or, oh look, everybody's stunned. Shit, that's not good RNG. Oh well. I can Taunting Blade to murder one of these dark fellows. The earth units aren't going to do an incredible amount of damage to me, so I can kind of stand the hate more than maybe Joom right now. Good lord. Poor girl. But let's not equivocate. We're all pretty close to death here. So I really hope they take care of that Ochu for me. I'm just going to run and hide in a corner. Again, doesn't necessarily matter if Joom dies, but if you die, that is a problem. That makes this move a little bit risky, but I don't know, Ochu didn't do anything about it, so I'm gonna call that a win. Okay, so the next map, you are going to have two types of enemies to deal with. You will need your action count to be no more than 7, and you need to keep Lucio. Alive. So here's how you're going to be loading this guy out. You want to put him in Monk. He needs punching attacks. He also needs piercing attacks. So you're going to see two very unique types of enemies that Lucio is mostly going to be responsible for engaging with in this fight. I am going to give him speed on his main BC, which may actually be kind of a terrible idea. You may not want him to take as many turns. In fact, you may want him to be as slow as a fucking rock for this. So there are ways to actually lower his speed, but I think the minimum that I'm going to do here is give him attack up. Actually, I'm going to give him as much attack up as I can, and this might not be as feasible for newer players, but, well, here we are. Rob's VC and Ramada's VC backing it up. I've also got Human Killer on Golem, but Golem is also making me slow. If Golem actually had 0 resonance with me, or if I ran a defense Esper that had 0 resonance with me, I would get even slower. And there is a good argument to making Lucio a very slow boy on this map. Unfortunately, the only other TMR that I have with a whole lot of attack on it has really inferior passives, 1 less agility, so I'm just going to stay with Bells. But really, there's a lot of things that you should probably change out for your normal Lucio build, who is probably trying to stat max his agility as much as possible, and kind of go in the exact opposite direction for this map. So once you've got all of that set up, and I've said it in previous videos, Lucio does not need 97 Faith. There's no reason Lucio should have 97 Faith. I don't know why or how I did that, but first turn, what you're going to want to do is move to Velus's side after buffing Renan so that he can help, so that he can tank some of these dark slash units a lot better. This is also, well actually I got the haste proc before I even moved, so that's kind of irrelevant, but moving to Velus's side will ensure that I get a heal a little bit later on. You can actually, and I think the original way I did this was fighting it from Renan's side, but Hey, Astro Monkey went Velas. I'm going Velas. Run forward. This is your second attack. Tri-Piercer takes out this dark enemy that is very much weak to Pierce and basically nothing else. That's why you equip Tri-Piercer. Also, there's another one. We're going to deal with him on our next turn. So currently we are sitting on turn 2 for ourselves. We are looking at turn 3 coming up. Turn 3. So turn 1 was the buff. Greater Domain of Light on Renan. Turn 2 was Tri-Piercer on the Dark unit to the right. Turn 3 is going to be a Tri-Piercer to the Dark unit from the left, which has now come to center for you. And from here, we have basically 3 to 4 turns to kill this behemoth while they clean up everything else on the map. And they're going to clean up everything else on the map pretty well. They aren't really going to slow this down for you. What is going to become a problem is taking out this behemoth. Now, one of the things that I know that I'm not sure if Space Monkey knew is that you can do bonus damage from attacking from behind. You can also do bonus damage attacking from the side, but your bonus damage as well as your accuracy is maximum when attacking from the very behind. So if you ever get that opportunity, use it. But because you are trying actively not to get turns, you want to move Lucio every turn. Do not ever let this man stand still. Always try to negotiate yourself to the left or right side of the behemoth to attack if you cannot reach the back. Keep him moving so that he gets less and less turns. I believe this is his 5th turn, 2nd maybe time attacking behemoth. Maybe 6th. As you can see, the boys are doing some hefty damage. I believe I'm actually on turn 6 right now. And I'm questioning whether or not I'm on turn 7 and whether or not I will actually be able to make it. Whether or not I should have used Revitalize earlier in the run, taking up one of those many turns. I almost used Revitalize on myself here before realizing that I can finish the map in 6 or 7 turns either way by using just a basic slash attack. Shout out to Astro Monkey, because the next video is gonna need his help. We're gonna be talking about Crucible of the Warriors version 3, and man, this is a nightmare. And while I love this map because it is not so much about like that last map especially was about a very firm strategy that you basically have to stick to. You have to compromise a lot of your build. You have to even build in the opposite direction that you usually would to make it work. This map is more intuitive. It reminds me a lot, again, of the last map for Slime, except way more complicated because you have a lot more allies and a lot more enemies in a pretty tight space, too. So, yeah, see you next time.